thoughts before speaking. The cure for this is, as we keep saying, being interested in others and to consider them more important than self. If you'll use funny words in your mind like this, it might help you. It might not, because I'm giving you a little insight to my brain, and it might be disturbing. But when I find myself about to interrupt somebody's story, I think, you think you're more important than them. Stop. Just by the very nature of me interrupting or wanting to correct my husband or correct somebody's story who's talking. Why? Why do I need to do that? I need to have the attention on them. I don't need to say everything I think or that I think I know. I don't need to correct. It's different if you're training your children, okay? They still don't need to be embarrassed publicly or anything like that. But I'm just saying, when we start to interrupt, if we'll catch ourselves and think, you actually deep down inside, you think what you have to say is more important than what they're saying. So stop. Do you agree? Does anybody else do that? Can somebody say yes?
I think sometimes, like, you're discussing a lot of how do we show grace to other people, but I recognize sometimes that people have a nervous condition where they interrupt others or they feel uneasy around people, so therefore they blurt. So I think there's a side of us that can just have more of grace towards other people.
I agree totally with that.
One time somebody was telling me how they exit combos they don't want to be in. And I'm like, I feel self-conscious talking to you now because now I know that you may be trying to get out of a combo with me. But then I'm like,
yeah, I know what you're saying.
I also want to keep being friendly and not feel like I'm on paranoid level every time I'm talking to this person. So I'm like, oh, Becky, stop it with the insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
Surely she's not trying to exit every combo with you, so therefore,
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's totally true. I'm glad you brought that up because the perspective of this is what we can do to show our interest to others. Obviously, if we're not using this to judge anybody else. Do you understand that? That is extremely important. We're not, when somebody interrupts, we're not thinking, you think you're better. They just have never thought of it before, right? Do y'all understand that? Like we don't, and you want to teach your kids the same thing. This is really important. We can unknowingly teach our kids to be really judgmental and prideful. As we're teaching them and they think what we're teaching them other people don't do. And that's awful. So as we teach our kids, we want to teach them, this is what you guys know and you've heard. Don't worry about other people doing this. You're not their judge. This is for y'all to, I feel it important to train you guys. This is how I talk to my kids. To train you guys. You're two. Now I want, so, but really we want, I saw that and I had to call my kids together at some point and say, guys, you know what? I have taught y'all to have this element of this judgmental spirit about some things, and that means I'm doing that, and y'all are doing it, and we're wrong. Like, it could even be like the standard of dress code that you have for your girls is the dress is to here, okay? It has to, you can't show the kneecap. And then they see somebody with it here and they're like, oh. you know what I'm saying? But what's not to say that the person who's here, I mean, it just keeps going. And you need to keep, like, and then you're like, my hindquarters are showing. Is that wrong? No, I'm just kidding. You can edit that out of there, please. Take that right out of that video. But see, y'all started laughing and then I just kept going. See, that's the problem I have. And Becky, I understand about the blurting out because I have problems with that. If you have ADD, you're like, bloop. Okay. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, self-control. Okay. Next. But teacher, who said that? That is very good. Are you my squirrel sister? Spoken like a true squirrel? But just keep that in mind that you want, as you're training your kids, you're also always seasoning it with grace, not only in how you deliver it to your kids, but how you're teaching your kids to think of other people. All right? Like, for example, if we have a family coming over, and in hospitality, which is next because we have 10 minutes, you know, and I want to train them ahead before the family comes over, and I say to them that, you know, they have a lot of little children, and one of them is a little active. So I want y'all, you know, if you see the adults talking and the child is interrupting their mom, the point of this, of having this family over tonight, is for them to relax. So kids, if y'all see that, just go offer for the kids to play with you. And take them so the parents feel free. If you notice the parent would rather them be in sight, bring some toys and play on the floor with them. Okay, you're teaching your kids to notice and observe, to serve and to lighten people's loads and things like that. But in so doing, I do not want to communicate to my kids that their kids, that the other family's kids are annoying or that we're better, right? You're teaching them to observe, to show kindness. It's just that. No judgment. Just help out so the mom can enjoy talking. It's probably been a long time since she's had a conversation with the whole 5 minutes. So, all right. How many more pages? Goodness, we got to do hospitality. Okay, when talking in a group, let's just go through this the best I can without interjecting thoughts. You think I can do that? When talking in a group or one-on-one and the person says something that reminds you of something, wait for them to finish their thoughts before switching over to your own story. Next, if you're talking in a group or even one-on-one and want to see if the person's truly interested in what you're saying, I've taught my kids this, it's hilarious. Okay, you're in a group, you want to see, is my story boring? This is as you're working on developing your people skills. Stop talking and see if anybody says, now what were you saying? I do this from time to time, and I'm like, all right, scratch that off my list of fun stories to share. Nobody cared. Okay, so stop talking and see if they ask you to continue. Don't take it personally if they don't ask you to continue. Just try to say it better next time or cross that off your list of things to talk about. They may have a short memory like me. If you do that to me and I don't ask you, I'm probably like, what was she talking about? That was so interesting. Squirrel. But it doesn't mean I'm not interested, but I'm just saying that's a little trick for you. Thank you for listening. All right. They may have a short memory, yet we're very interested, but you may find a pattern here that you talk too much or you talk about yourself too often. Change your attention to be about the other person and the other person's interests. Okay, how about worry, fear, being anxious? When you express your concerns on a continual basis, who is that attention on? Like, I'm so scared, I don't know what to do. When you bring people into all of the inner workings of being anxious, you've just ruined the fun they were having. Right? Now they gotta latch on and be concerned. And you're like, do you know what I'm saying? Have you ever been in that situation? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. People get exhausted from being around complainers and whiners and worriers. Your worry can rob or control the mood. Hey, if y'all are with me and you do any of these things, it is fine. Do not feel extra pressure. And I'm going to mess up too, okay? But we just grow together. But it's good for you to know. Goodness. Can y'all stay till 11 o'clock? Sure. Okay, so don't rob the mood of it. If an entire, can rob the mood of an entire group of people, taking away their fun, putting the attention on who? On yourself. Okay, real quick. So there was one day when I was homeschooling an extra child, and I knew about him that he had lots of worries and fears and all, and I wanted to help him in this area to overcome some fears, but I had to do it strategically. Okay, and so as an elementary child, And so my boys, who were probably middle school, high school, were going to take the boat out and go out on the marsh and whatnot. And I wanted that boy to go because he was fearful. There's this little part of me that's like, face of fear head on. Where's John get that from? Anyway, and Laura, apparently. I just found out today that my college daughter sent pictures that she's at Niagara Falls. I did not know. She found a good deal on a ticket. I am not suggesting this for your children. That is not good parenting. Actually, I knew she was going to go there, but I forgot. And so I got the picture and I was like, what? Thursday! Okay.
Why is she in a neck brace? Is she okay?
She's in a neck brace because she was hit by a car while she was on her bicycle at college. Yes. So, yes. Does she remind you of anybody that we may know right back there? Her name is Anna Marie. Okay. They're fun. Okay, I don't know what I was saying. See, nobody asked me to continue. See, boring. Oh, yes, thank you. You would have gone home and wondered what happened to him. Okay, or you wouldn't have because it was a boring story. Okay, so, but I knew he needed to, one, face fears and not be crippled by parenting that just says, okay, you don't have to, no, don't take any risks. So I wanted to ease him into that, but more importantly, the character. I knew his focus was always on himself, whining, complaining, blah, 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 and it's always everybody else's fault, those kind of things. And so I said to him, now I'm going to make you go on the boat with John and Daniel. But this is with respect, training ahead, privately with just he and I. My whole family did not know this was going on. This is behind the scenes, training to an area that I thought would be a potential problem to give him the skill set to go through this. So I said, now, I don't want you to complain. I don't want you to say, I'm cold, I'm hot, my feet are wet because they're going to walk on the marsh. And I want to go home. I don't want you doing those things because the attention is on who? On himself. And that takes away the fun of the trip that the other boys are planning on having. So suck it up. Do you want children to be in my care? There are times I say that. And don't tell them any of those things. Just be a trooper, get out there and do what they're saying and have fun. Don't ask to come home early. And he came back and he had so much fun. But that was new for him, to stop talking about yourself and stop taking away the joy of other people because you're complaining all the time. Okay, next, when you have a problem with the person, pray about it and ask God, and then go directly to the person in love and humility, not to anyone else. Nobody else needs to know about it. Otherwise, if you're starting to brag that you talked to somebody about a problem everybody knows, who are you bragging on? Yourself. You don't need the attention. If God's given you an opportunity to speak truth into someone's life, do it humbly, in love, recognizing, as Matthew says, that you got your own problems, and they could very well turn around and tell you about them. So you go humbly with the goal of helping them to see something that would help them, and you don't tell anybody else about it. No. Does that make you a trustworthy friend? Absolutely. Yes. And if you do that as your habit, you are trustworthy. If you do hold confidences, people know. When you have a problem with the person, I already said that. Next, be grateful for the direct, or one might say rude, people in your life. They can reveal things about us that many others have wanted to tell us but don't. I could go on and on, but we're going to try to get through this, okay? But that's a really huge concept right there. When we hear something, even if it is unkind or spoken harshly, we should ask ourselves this, and we should teach our children to process it like this. after we listen well to their feelings, then we should say to ourselves or to them, is there any truth to what they're saying? And help sift through that. Is there any truth? Do I come across harsh? Did my humor offend? They're letting you know. This can be a blessing. So is there any truth to that? Then spend quiet time before the Lord, asking Him to reveal any areas you need to change. Ask Him to prick your heart when you're about to err in this area. He will. This process of God refining us it can hurt. But the result is beauty from ashes. The result is so much good. The refinement is awesome. This could truly be a blessing and a key to helping us to smooth rough edges that we've been blind to, such as gossip or bad manners, sarcasm, hurtful words, not being trustworthy, etc. Next, when you walk into a room, acknowledge the person's presence by saying hi, inquiring how they're doing, and good eye contact. That may sound simple, but I guarantee you a lot of teenagers, a lot of grown people don't do that. And it is, oftentimes they're just not thinking about it, or their focus is on their self and wondering if they're included, they're wondering if people want them there, they're letting the insecurity things rule them. Say hi and ask them a question like, how are you? If someone's going through a rough time and you're in a quiet zone, you could say, how are you really? And mean it. Like, how are you really doing? I know it's rough. And be concerned for them. You guys, how many more pages is on there? We're going to have to stop. 45 more pages. It was 22 an hour ago.
So too.
Okay.
After this one too.
Okay. When you sit out or don't get involved in a group, you're actually being selfish because your focus is on yourself. Have you ever had that happen, like where you're like, hey, let's all do this, and then there's people that like don't ever do it? Well, we need to teach our kids, you know what, do what the group wants to do, not bad things. Jump off the bridge if they say to. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying like if it's something that it's not like totally terrible, like, you know, they're playing like a game outside, play it with them. Be a team player, you know. They're taking pictures. Be in the picture, you know. Just don't make it about yourself. And we do things like that without realizing it. But something to think about, because maybe we don't want to be embarrassed or unsure what to talk about or afraid of looking awkward or all that. It's all about self though, right? Again, you see the focus, you see the theme here. If your house is a mess, hair is a mess, no makeup on, and you are in pajamas and a friend stops by your home, how could you respond?
I'm not home.
She said, I'm not home.
I've done that one before. I'm repenting right now.
Okay. If this helps you, I mean, I don't answer the door a lot of times. Let's be real. I'm like, so I may do that sometimes. But really, if a friend comes over and is in need or something, and y'all know it's a fight with everything in you, you want to go, I'm so bad, I look so bad. Did y'all see my Instagram story today? I had on leggings that were very colorful, and then I had other colors of polka dotted socks. And I went over to borrow an egg for those brownies, so y'all need to eat some of those brownies. But I took a picture and I said, can I borrow an egg? And I click a picture down. It was terrible. And then I had sandals that go like this. The flip-flops, you know. It was awful. So I went over there, and I have learned, don't bring attention to yourself. It's about them. Now, I did take a picture to prepare her. She goes, it's okay, I don't have any makeup on either. She looked good. My husband saw a picture of me, and he goes, when did you see your brother? I must say, you know how I said when people say things, is there any truth to that? There was. I had my hair pulled back, and I did look like him. But anyway, point is, I went over there to get an egg, and then I found out her husband was sick. So I came home, and I said, can I bring y'all some soup? And she said, yeah, that'd actually be nice for tonight. So I went back and took soup, because the focus wasn't, I wasn't dying of, oh, I can't believe him. I was willing to go out in semi-public to the next door neighbor's house, looking like that, laughing at myself, to meet a need for them. All right, so there you go. Self-focused is you don't open the door, which is okay sometimes, or you apologize for the look, or you say, my house is so messy, I'm so sorry, and you keep focusing on that instead of the person. Hey, come on in and sit down, let's talk. And inside you're like, I want to say it so bad. I want to say, sorry, I look so bad. But fight the urge, because your attention is on them. That's happened many times where I was able to just be there for someone and hope that they weren't scarred. The others focused is to ignore self, ignore house, be about the other person, invite them in, offer a drink, smile big. When I look like that, I try to smile like this big. I'm like, because I'm trying not to have, y'all get it? Okay. The bottom line for good people skills is to show your interest in others. Be teachable. Being teachable is an excellent quality. Learn to welcome advice and even ask for help, and even desire others to reveal blind spots to you. That's another part of growing in friendships with people. Say, hey, can you share any blind spots that you see in me? Like, that's really a good friendship with people. But you could do that with your spouse or your closest friends. Okay, always do your share and more. Go over and above. Go the extra mile. Don't keep score. Don't keep tally marks in friendships. Making everything equal. Obey God when He prompts your heart to do, to give, to be the one to call, and not think, I've called her 17 times and she hasn't. If He puts them on your mind, you obey. Don't keep score. And when you have company over, always offer them a drink or a snack. Teach your kids to do that too. Even if you have to go, you have a friend drop by real quick, and you go, one moment, I'll be right back. Hey, go offer them something to drink. Even if you tell your kids like that, you're teaching them, stop what you're doing and focus on the other person. Lighten people's loads. Okay, and if you have little kids at home, take them with you to go lighten somebody's load, like fix the roof, blow the driveway, take a meal to them. Write them a note. Involve your family, and so they have this way of thinking as well. One of the highest compliments you can show someone is to study them, to observe them, and know what they like and dislike and things that you can do to help them, to serve them, and to make things special for them. Perhaps you could keep a log of people's favorite things. A log today means notes on your phone. But when you hear something like, oh, Becky likes this, I'll write it in my phone. Or however you want to do it. But then when God puts something on your mind, like, hey, just do it. Just give Becky that salad that she loves so much. Or she's actually a really good cook, so if you think of me, just go ahead and serve me. Oops, it's about me. No. Okay. Notice when others are tired or stressed. Have initiative to help. Let your family know when you need help. Okay, I'm about to tell you another life-changing principle that we put into our family. Are you ready? So, you are teaching your kids to notice when other people may be tired or stressed, particularly the mama, and you literally teach them this. Teach them exactly what they can say, such as, in that blank there, what may I do to help? How can I lighten your load? It is okay to teach your children those phrases. And we need to have self-control, even when we're stressed. But you literally can have children that do that. When you've said, instead of like reacting and yelling, you can say, hey, you guys, I can feel that I'm getting short with you all, and that's wrong of me. But when I do that, you guys, there's things on my mind. Maybe there's to-do list things, and I want y'all to say, what can I do to help? Because we're a team here. And teach them to do that with each other. What may I do to help? Family members should operate like this, thinking selflessly and helping each other. The 5 love languages are words of affirmation, quality time, gift-giving, physical touch, and acts of service. How many of you have heard of that before? How many of you have never heard of that? Has everybody heard of it? Okay. That's really important, that, again, taking the time to observe each of your family members and know how they're wired and know how to invest in them. Teach the kids to do that with each other. You know, hey, your brother, it would mean a lot for your brother if you go with him. I remember having to do that with our boys. They're very different, but I'd say, Daniel, I know hunting is not your favorite thing, but that's something John wants to do, and you're going to do it. You're going to be about him, and then John's favorite thing is not soccer, like Daniel's, but John learned to cheer for his brother and be there for him. But anyway, learn these love languages and study. You know, my kids absolutely know that my husband's is physical touch and acts of service, so they know something they can do to make him feel special and loved is to rub his back, rub his feet. That's a way for them to give to him. That might not be theirs, but it's not about being self-focused. It's learning others so we can do for them. The main reasons to know this are to be able to show love to others in ways that are most meaningful to them, selfless love, and to recognize what means the most to us so that we can let our family members know. I think that is good to communicate openly in your home and say what yours is, so that they understand the different ways to be selfless towards others. We should be mindful of all the ways and communicate using all 5, not just what's easy for us. Be a giver, be a server. Give to others the moment the Lord prompts your heart to give, to the degree that He puts on your heart. Matthew 7:12 tells us how we are to love others. Do unto others as you would have them do to you. Okay, next part, and I think the final page, for crying out loud, is, wait, there's one more page after this?
No, that's it.
Okay. Okay, apologizing. This is really, really important. None of us should let the sun go down on our wrath. It's in the Bible, and it is wise. It keeps us from having bitterness build up, resentment, keeping score, and all that. So apologizing needs to be part of the dynamics in your home and part of the dynamics that you just operate with all relationships. It's a great way to shows you're interested in making things right and admit where you were wrong in the situation. And what we've done in our family, I heard this somewhere a long time ago when our 30-year-old was in elementary school at the very oldest. And it was this: I know I was wrong. That's what goes in that blank. I know I was wrong for, and whatever the specific thing is. Guys, how many people do you know, including ourselves maybe, that can't admit, they can't acknowledge their ownership of wrongdoing in anything? That should not be us. Forgiveness should just be easy. We should ask for forgiveness quickly. As soon as, like, sometimes I'm like, I said, I'm really wrong for the way that I was yelling at y'all. It should be fast. And you should mean it and use that to not continue that pattern of sin. So I know I was wrong for it. It does not have to be those exact words. They're not magic words, but it is an intentional effort that the child learn their ownership of it. This is accepting ownership of what you did wrong and how you hurt someone else. So you also say, I know I was wrong for hurting you deeply with my words. Will you forgive me? Okay. Great people skills also occur when you are bold enough to say the tough stuff to a friend or family member. Iron sharpens iron. Pray first to make sure the Holy Spirit is leading you in this. Addressing areas of concern shows you really do care. Be careful though, just because something is true doesn't mean it is right for you to say it or that it's the right time. You must always pray first and follow the Lord's leading. So thank you for joining us tonight. Come back to the next one where we do hospitality.